Hello, everyone. Welcome to 30 Teens, 30 Dreams, Destination University. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, founder of Dream College Academy and College Essay Bootcamp. If you are a college-bound teen or a champion of one, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. You might know, if you've been following, that we're doing a special series the entire month of April, interviewing a different senior in high school who is deciding where they're headed to college this fall. This sure has been a doozy of a year, and so today's guest is Derick. Derick hails from Southern California, and he has applied to a number of schools across the country and has the choice of heading back east, where his brother shared earlier this month where he's headed, or will he stay closer to home and stick with his Cali roots? This piano playing, guitar playing, robot building history buff is going to share everything and dish today on his journey. Parents, if you do nothing else, I'm telling you, please join us on Destination University, where everyone gets the insider scoop. So if you are a parent of a college-bound teen, join us there today. Okay, I think we're ready. So I just wanted to make sure, Derick, can you hear me? Is everything okay?
Yes.
All right, you ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, you know the drill. I have 5 questions for you. And the first question is to share with our viewers and listeners, just give a sample of where you applied, what kinds of colleges did you apply to, and how did you come up with that list?
So I applied to a pretty wide range of schools. A lot of them were on the East Coast just because I kind of wanted to head further away from home. I definitely applied to more reaches than I did safeties. I applied to like 5 Ivy Leagues, which obviously I ended up not getting into any of them, but I just kind of wanted to put myself out there and sort of reach out for them. I also made sure to apply to a couple of schools at home, and I applied to a few like safeties, like Arizona. I guess the way I came up with that list was just researching schools online, obviously, because we were kind of confined to our homes over the past year. So just looking at, like, obviously for my major, I was doing history or like political science or something in there. So I guess just going on like various websites, looking up like rankings for schools, and then further going into those schools' websites and seeing like what classes they had specific to each major and if I was interested in those, and then looking at teachers and like what they had done with their careers, just to see if they were the kind of people that I would want to be learning from.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, that's really good advice. So I heard a couple of things you said. You said that you applied to a wide range of schools, and you definitely applied to your reach schools, and I believe everybody deserves to apply to those reach schools. So good for you for putting yourself out there. And then I also heard you say that you looked up, what your major was, history and political science, such, and checked out the professors in those departments to see if they are people you wanted to study from. So yeah, awesome. Just to follow up, I often ask about if you got any merit, and I see you got some merit money. So just share with our parents what that meant. Did that mean extra applications or interviewing, or what do you have to do for that merit aid?
I believe they just like, I got a letter from them just saying like, you earned this merit just for like academics. I didn't have to do any sort of interviews or anything. Maybe I like clicked a box just like to apply to it, but it wasn't like any sort of extra work that I did to get that merit specifically.
Right. What you did was you were you, and you were an academic scholar, and they noticed that. So usually it's just a matter of applying by a certain deadline. So awesome. Okay, so question number 2 is looking back, what did you do right? Share with others, whether it was academics or being involved, what did you do right and that others can learn from?
Well, I would say I definitely worked really hard in school to get good grades, which definitely helped me out. Also, just being involved in a wide range of activities, like even outside of what I ended up applying to study for, like doing robotics and engineering and stuff like that, also kind of shows that you're like a well-rounded person, I guess, and you have a wide range of knowledge and interests. And that if you were to like sit down and talk to the person reading your application, like they would want to have a conversation with you and think you're like an interesting person. So I guess those 2 things were some major ones. Also, I guess like community service, stuff like that also helps out. in terms of
Yeah.
making you look appealing.
Well, I like what you said that, at the end of the day, we talk about this too in camps, and you have to be an interesting, engaging kind of person. And I like what you're saying, that you wanted to really come across as being an interesting person. And so all the experiences that you had, all of your involvement led to you being able to have something to write about and be an interesting person. So yeah, good for you. Let's talk about your coolness factor, and it's different for everyone. And I'm curious to know what you think. I think I have a feeling of what I think your coolness factor is, but I'm curious to know what you would share with others. Like, what was your thing that you feel made you stand out?
I guess there were a couple things. One, I guess I tried to make a point on my application that like I'm a very open person and like open to different like people and new experiences and learning new things, which I feel like kind of shows in the schools I got accepted to. Like there's schools with that kind of like culture. And then also, I guess in terms of like what would make me like a cool guy, like I guess I play some instruments, and I'm really into music, which I think that shows like sort of an interest I have that isn't necessarily reflected in just academics. So it definitely shows that there's like something more to the person than just like the grades and the list of classes. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I know admission officers talk about, we don't want to necessarily just see just you being an academic scholar, because we know you are, but all of the other things that make you sort of unique and different. So I like what you had to say, just, your love of music. I think that was one of your essays, right? Your love of music.
Yeah, that was my personal essay for the Common App. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it really showed the wide range. Now, something that you viewers and listeners, if you picked up what he said, he made a point to say he's very open. And now that he's reflecting on where he was admitted, I think it matches, right? Matches the places that he was admitted. So, it all works out. It's a little bit of like a marriage proposal, this whole thing. Okay, so question number 4 is, do you have any regrets? Is there something looking back, if you had to do it, if you had to, I say had to, because I don't know that anyone wants to. If you had to do it all over again, is there anything that you would do differently?
I guess I would start the process earlier, because I think if I did want to get into like a really like super like reach school, I probably should have started researching a little bit earlier than I did, and just figuring out like what I needed to do to get into those schools. Just because I feel like I kind of realized a little too late, like, oh, I didn't do this stuff that most kids do have to, get into like a top school. Also, I probably, because I got deferred from Brown early decision, I probably should have written a letter of continued interest, because I didn't do that, because I thought it wouldn't have been, because I didn't even know that was really like a thing, because in the letter that I got, it just said, any materials you would like to turn in, please turn in by this date. Nothing is required. So I just thought that meant like if something major happened that you like turned something in. I didn't know you were supposed to like say like I still want to apply here. So.
Well, Derick, you are not alone. I'm kind of giggling because I think most people do that very thing. I think they just say, okay, well, I guess if they didn't want me now, maybe they'll want me later. But there's a lot of sort of, I don't want to say use the word strategy, but just again, it's continued interest, to use I just said the marriage proposal. So to use the dating metaphor, if you want to get that prom date, you got to kind of keep asking until they say yes, right? So yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for being vulnerable and sharing and being candid and honest about your process, because you're definitely not alone. This was quite a year of deferrals and wait lists, and so yeah, I get it for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the moment of truth is about here, and before you say where you've chosen, what did you narrow down to? Did it come down to like a top 2 for you? How did you narrow it down? Because you have really good options, by the way. They're all good top colleges.
Yeah, so I definitely thought about location. So right away, no offense to anybody who like likes Arizona, but I kind of knew hot weather was not for me, and neither was like the really dry desert, which is, I've been to Arizona a couple times, and I didn't really like the weather at all. So I kind of ruled Arizona out right away. And then George Washington, I think I liked the USC and UCLA and Berkeley's like academics a little bit better than George Washington. So I kind of knew I didn't really want to go there. USC, I ended up ruling out just because I visited the campus, and then after visiting UCLA and UC Berkeley, I kind of realized like I didn't like the campus quite as much, and I just didn't like the vibe I got as much. And just like talking to students, you know, I kind of realized like maybe it wasn't like the social scene for me. And then UCLA and Berkeley was the really hard decision because they're super similar. They're very close in academics. But I visited both campuses. I went to UCLA. I really liked it, and it was really hard for me to say like, well, I'd rather pick Berkeley over here. But when I visited Berkeley, I just kind of realized like, I really like this place. I really like the campus. I really like all the people. I like the academics. So should I say which one I picked?
Yeah.
I ended up picking Berkeley.
There's mom and dad. Come on in.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, and fight on for those of you who.
I know. I'm like, oh, you're kind of breaking my heart right now.
Exactly. I was selling USC hard. Don't worry.
Oh Lord. Okay, so to circle back, I mean, come on, like it's so obvious. I'm looking at you, thinking, listening to all the things you love and are involved in, and it seems so obvious right now, right? You go, oh, that's completely obvious, but maybe it wasn't so obvious to you just a few weeks ago.
I just realized like, oh, sorry.
No, yeah. Go ahead, Dad.
I just realized like I had like it was just the place like I kind of had to be. Like I kind of was afraid if I stayed in LA for UCLA, I would just like get bored after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of so I wanted to go somewhere else, go somewhere new.
Well, Dad, I don't know if you just heard me say that. It's just now, you know, listening to him, like it seems so obvious that Berkeley is like those are your people, Derick. Like completely, like those are your peeps.
Now, what makes you say that?
So obvious. But Mom, Dad, what would you like to say to your son?
Well, we're super proud of Derick and everything he's accomplished and how well he's done in school and in life and everything. And he's a great kid, and we're really excited about where he's going. And I think Berkeley's a great place for him.
Yeah,
Mom?
and I agree. And I know that, you know, like you said, he's still not 100% sure what he's going to do with his history major, because we asked him that as soon as he said, we want to be a history major. And we were like, so grad school. So it's going to be great. And I know he's going to have a wonderful time. And, you know, Berkeley is a perfect place for him.
You're absolutely correct. Derick, do you have anything to say to Mom and Dad?
Thank you for helping me with the process of college admissions, because it's very stressful and not very pleasant. And thank you for supporting my decision.
Of course.
Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you for supporting my decision. I'm going to major in history and go to grad school.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Okay, family, well, hang tight just a second. I'm going to do a wrap up and then we'll all say goodbye, okay?
Okay.
So if you didn't catch what I said earlier, we interviewed Steve early on this month, and that is Derick's brother. So he's headed to Babson. So don't you just love that family? With the confetti and the whole thing. Okay, well, if this episode has in any way fueled your confidence or helped build your dreams, Derick's shared a lot. And I think it's just a great episode to share with other people who have big dreams and maybe should get started just a little earlier. So thanks for sharing that, Derick. Again, parents, if you want to join us on our Facebook group, Destination YOUniversity, that's where I give all the insider scoop and dish all the behind the scenes truths. But if you want to get a head start, it's never too early to get some strategies and some tips and some real truths about how this process works. So I've created a little video series for everyone, and you'll learn the 4 most common topics of essays and the 5 biggest mistakes that teenagers make. So you can go directly to my website. It's right there on the front page. We just have about a week left of this series. It's on Facebook every single day and on IGTV, and will also be available on YouTube in June. We continue tomorrow with our series, and you're going to meet Ethan, also from California, and he is a runner and debater, and he is going to be headed somewhere. I can tell you now, he's going to be headed somewhere also in California. Will we have, for the first time, a double whammy? We haven't repeated a single college at all this whole year, this whole month. So it could be tomorrow. We'll stay tuned. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks to the whole team to make this happen. All right. Okay, you guys, wave goodbye. I know tomorrow he's narrowed it down to the California schools, and I don't know which one he's picked, but I think it's going to be something we've already heard from, so we'll see. All right, good to see you all.
You.
Bye, good to see you.
Bye.